So as we transition now to the most important non-quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, because the quarterbacks are going to get all the love. I mean, you're going to be talking about Jalen Hurts. Everyone's going to be talking about Patrick Mahomes this whole time. They don't need more love from Chris. They've gotten enough love from you, especially Mahomes. Maybe not Hurts, but Mahomes has definitely gotten enough. So we wanted to put you to work on the plane, and you ranked your top 10 non-quarterbacks who are the most important in this Super Bowl game. We're going to go 1 through 10.
Okay.
And just right off the bat, what did you consider? Did you consider, like, these players need to be good? These players, if they pop, then this will be tough for the other team to beat?
Yeah,
how did you attack this?
It's hard. That's what's hard, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're like, wait, should I pick this player who I think has to play awesome, or should I pick this player who's not that good that has to play above and beyond what he usually plays, right? Right? There's some certain positional showdowns where you're like, well, wait, I'm just going to pick one of them, and then I can explain the other guy, too, in the bigger, broader conversation.
Like, this guy's not that important, but if he does play really well, it will be important in the game, but they can also win without him doing that.
It went to not only the player itself and how good he is and he can affect the game, but also, as we always talk about, it's a matchup league. And there's certain matchups within this game and the way the game is on the football field that, certain areas of the Eagles or the Chiefs are going to have to bend a little bit to what the other side does and go, oh, wait, this is not comfortable for us, but we got to change the way we play because this is a tough aspect of the matchup for us, right? Yeah. And that's where I think we'll be good here because I got a few interesting angles that I think will bring up a few different things here.
And we start at the top. Your number one most important non-quarterback is
Saquon Barkley. I mean, it's still Saquon Barkley. I thought about trying to be cute and come up with something different, but, I mean, Saquon Barkley is the best non-quarterback player on the football field here, right? It's rare, actually, where I think if you put the two teams up on a banner and you put biggest star from each team, we're in a Super Bowl, really, where you'd put Mahomes on one side and you put Saquon on the other. Really, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Right? And that's rare because usually it's quarterback on the big banner, right? But this would be one where you'd go, no, they can put, the running back on there. But Saquon just, of course, all that he does. And he affects the football game in so many ways. But, whether you want to talk about positive Eagles, right? If he rushes for over 150 and gets into those type of numbers, 150, 180, I got to sit here and go, ooh, that seems like the Eagles are going to win the football game, certainly, right? Also within why he's important to this he breaks big plays. Is he going to score a touchdown? Right? That's one thing. Like, the Chiefs are fast. We don't see 80-yard touchdowns against the Chiefs very often, if you think about it, right? So can they damage that bleed, or can they cover up that bleeding when he does break it and go, okay, he only got 20. He didn't rip it off for 70 and another touchdown, like we saw, in the Rams game where he had 5 big runs and they all went for touchdowns, basically, right? So that's where I look at that. And then also why he's the most important thing, because of this is where it gets hard to do this, but the all that the Chiefs are going to have to do to worry about him all the time, and then all the stuff that opens up for the Eagles offense, because the Chiefs, of course, their number one thing, even in the first Super Bowl matchup when these two played, was stop the run. We laughed the day after the Super Bowl. I told you, I was like, some of the blitzes Spags brought on first down to stop the run plays were insane. And that's where, again, I think they're going to have to do some of that and take some chances as well. And that's why he's so important, right? If he goes for 150 or above, I have a hard time thinking they're going to lose.
Yeah.
If he goes for 110, 105, 95, that's when we get into then Jalen Hurts in the passing game better have had a good day, right? Because if it becomes Jalen Hurts kind of the way he was in the Rams game, and they can stop Saquon to 130, 120, I go, well, then the Chiefs won the game. That would be a basic thought of mine going into it on the stat line, unless something drastic happens.
DraftKings Sportsbook has the over-under at 113.5 rushing yards, so Saquon has cleared that in 8 of his last 10 games, including 5 straight, and so he has gone over 113.
It's hard to keep him under that number. Yeah. That number is, again.
Well, you break 150 yards, you're already
you're
almost halfway there. Yeah.
Exactly right. That's what he's been able to do. As we said in the Rams game, there was a lot of runs that were for no gain. 2 yards, 0 yards, -1, 50, 2 yards, 5 yards, 70, right? I mean, that's what it was. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that against the Chiefs, but will it be a consistent, 8, 10, 12, and they just slowly beat them down that way? Yeah, the Chiefs are going to have to worry about that.
Well, maybe he'll get the handoff.
Right.
get right to the line of scrimmage and then be stopped cold. Your number 2 most important non-quarterback in Super Bowl 59 is?
Chris Jones, number 95. Now, one, because of the things we're talking about. The Eagles, you know my thoughts on the Eagles offensive line. I think it's the best offensive line we've seen in the last 20 years in football. I wouldn't pick one. I think it's the best offensive line we've seen since the Cowboys in the 90s. I've said that too. The defensive line, right? I wanted to cheat and put defensive tackles in here, right? Because their defensive tackles are going to have to play above and beyond. This is one of those cases where both D lines in this game are being told, if you don't exceed what you normally do, we can't win the game, right? The front four of the Eagles is being told, if you can't get to Mahomes by yourself, we're not going to win the game, because if we blitz him, we're in trouble, right? Yeah. He's going to hurt us if we have to blitz him all the time. And the Chiefs' D-line is different, where they're being told, if you don't stop Saquon and have the best run game defense of your life, we're not going to win the Super Bowl. So these motherfuckers are going to be going crazy in the game. But Chris Jones, of course, is where it starts. Chris Jones is the guy on the Chiefs that can make the most up the plays happen for the Chiefs' defense, right? And he's going to be the guy that attention's going to be on, right? When it's a 4-man rush, they're going to slide to him and make sure they get 2 bodies on him, right? Or to spag blitz and create some one-on-ones for him that he has got to win. Chris Jones isn't as good as he was 2 or 3 years ago, but he's still damn good. He really is. But he's going to have to play, I think, a monster football game here if the Chiefs want to win it. Yeah.
But to your point, if he does, it's hard to see how the Eagles can have a whole lot of success on the offensive side of the ball. So
yes. Noddy,
yes,
him, Pennell, right? I would think we're going to see some of those 3 defensive tackle sets, but Jones is, of course, the leader of that group there and the guy that's able to make the most happen outside of what the coaches coach, right?
So Pete has come through here. We said there was no Super Bowl trivia.
Oh.
Pete felt bad. Felt like it was an attack on his character, which maybe it was. And so he has produced in real time some trivia in our pod. So how many sacks does Chris Jones have in 4 career Super Bowls?
Okay. It's not many. It's not
he's
many
effing
at
up
all.
the play. He doesn't need to get the sack.
He's effed up the play. He's had a lot of batted balls. I'm going to say in the 4 career Super Bowls, I honestly, I'm going to say 0. I think he's got 0.
0. Da, 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 da.
I'm good.
Just 2 quarterback hits. Both were last year.
Right.
So
he's never – I couldn't remember a sack off the top of my head. I do remember pushing the pocket and batted balls, right?
Yeah.
That was the big thing. And again, that speaks to the Super Bowl and teams, they have extra time to prepare, and they make sure usually the center and the guard are on him.
Don't let this guy
right? Don't let this guy ruin it for us, like you said.
So 21 career playoff games, just 3.5 sacks there.
Yeah.
But 20 quarterback hits.
Well, it's a little bit too like we talk about, like what we were saying with Saquon. It's all that he does. Not only is he good, but it's the other team, and they have to game plan and kind of worry about him so much that it helps out the rest of the defense. And that's the Chris Jones effect. But I think he's going to have to do a little more statistically in this game than he has in these other Super Bowls if they want to win.
So 1 Eagle,
Yeah.
1 Chief.
Yeah.
Number 3 will break a brief tie. Your number 3 most important non-quarterback player in this game is?
Trent McDuffie, corner for the Chiefs, number 22. That's right. McDuffie, I think you know from what we've talked about here on the pod, is my number 2 cornerback in football, right? We always talk about Pat Surtain is the best corner.
I thought he was number 3. I thought Surtain was 1 and 2.
And you're right. We did say
3.
that. You're right. It's 1 and then 2 and then McDuffie. But McDuffie is special.
Yeah.
And why I say this, because, I mean, obvious reasons. 1, we just talked about they got to go all out to stop the run. Well, what the does that mean in the back end? That means they got to play some man-to-man. That means we talked about in the Bills matchup, they will play some matchups where they'll go, hey, it's 3rd and 8. You take A.J. Brown, or maybe it's Devontae Smith. I don't know who it's going to be, right? But let's just say I have a feeling it's going to be Devontae Smith. I would bet he's going to take Devontae Smith, and then they're going to go, now let's move the other 7 guys. Let's kick them over to A.J. Brown and the other guys and just really make it cloudy over there, right? Because A.J. Brown's such a tough one-on-one matchup.
Well, what's the height difference there, you think?
Yeah, McDuffie's probably like 5'11", maybe 5'10 and a half. I'm going to say 5'11", and then A.J. Brown's 6'1 and a half.
A.J. Brown's 6'1",
yeah.
Yep.
And McDuffie, I believe, is 5'11 and a half. It's a...
McDuffie is 5'11".
Okay, yep. I'm usually pretty good at remember that. It's
a couple inches on him.
It is. It's
not
a
as much
inches.
as I maybe thought, but yeah.
No,
still.
I know. It seems different because AJ is just such a big human being. AJ, where he really gets you with his size is his strength.
box out ability.
McDuffie, corners like him, Marshawn Lattimore, they think usually they can out-physical other receivers. When you play A.J. Brown, you usually lose that physical battle.
He's got about 30 pounds, 35 pounds on
A.J.
him.
Brown is rocked. I mean, he is jacked, right? He really is. But that, to me, is huge because, yes, whether it's first down and McDuffie's got to play man-to-man on an island because they're loading the box to stop the run, or if it's 3rd and 8 and they go, hey, you got Devontae Smith and now we're going to kick coverage and do all this crazy shit over here to stop everything else. I just think that's a huge part of the football game. And, of course, I mean, McDuffie's going to be under it. I got to think they're going to have to put they're going to have to put pressure on McDuffie in this game because of the Eagles' O-line and the run game and all the stress they put on you. That they might have to gamble with McDuffie man-to-man on an island, maybe a little more than they even normally do, which we know they're willing to do that.
And when you were talking to our friend Dan Patrick, you gave a compliment to Jalen Hurts, and people might think, like, oh, no, you're always a hater on Jalen Hurts. He's screaming at you from behind our set. But you said he's one of the best deep ball throwers that you think in the NFL, and so that is a point of this game where it's just like that could be a difference-making part of this game.
We're not talking about quarterbacks here on this list, but Jalen Hurts and the way the Chiefs, I think, are going to have to play him, and we'll get into some more Jalen Hurts stuff, I would think he's going to have some downfield opportunities. And if he plays like he did in the NFC Championship game, they're going to be tough to beat. But if he plays like he did in the Rams game or the Packers game, then it's going to be tough for them to beat the Chiefs. And that's what we got to see here. But he's certainly going to have some opportunities. And, I would think some of these go balls are going to look real good to him on film when he sees these type of coverages.
McDuffie allowed 3 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown on 6 targets in Super Bowl 57 against the Eagles a couple years ago.
Right. McDuffie's a hell of a play. That was his rookie year, too. Let's not forget. And Devontae, I do think, had one really good go route on him during that game.
So there's your top 3 off the podium, but just barely. Number 4, your most important non-quarterback is?
I mean, one of my faves, you know that, Jalen Carter. I love Jalen Carter. I don't think anybody is surprised by that altogether here. And Jalen Carter's another one of these guys where it's like, I could have maybe made him 3. I could have maybe made him number 2. He's the biggest game wrecker in this game on the defensive line. There's no doubt about that. The best defensive player in this game is Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is arguably the best defensive player in football. And why I say this in this game, too, is because, one, he's awesome and he can wreck the game and be in Mahomes' face where he can't move and slide in the pocket, stop the run, do all that. We talked about a weak link on the Chiefs' offensive line in Caliendo. They're going to have to be worried about Jalen Carter on Caliendo because if Jalen Carter and Caliendo are one-on-one, then, guess what's going to happen? Jalen Carter's going to win that matchup all day long. So but as good as the Eagles' D-line is, the Chiefs can't just always be doubling Jalen Carter and then just always letting their tackles be man-on-man and everybody else. So that's where he puts so much stress on them. I would think they try to favor doubling him when he's on Caliendo, and if he's on Trey Smith on the right side, maybe you could take some chances and let him go mano-a-mano there a little bit. But he is going to be an issue for them, right? The Chiefs are not a very good running football team this year. They just stay patient with it and keep the attempts up. I don't think they're going to be able to run it in this capacity. Where I think Jalen Carter is going to help with the run is Mahomes scrambling. That's where it's going to be big. When Mahomes likes to drop back real deep and he creates these lanes where he can sneak through and go run for yardage, Jalen Carter and whether he can get a sack, stop him from getting or making some negative plays there, that'll be a huge part of the football game.
Yeah, your love of Jalen Carter cannot be denied if you've listened to this podcast long enough. But if you look at the whole body of work, I think the PFF grade actually is not
It's not as good as it should be.
So it's not as good as it should be. I think your argument would be at points in a game, he takes over a game unlike any other defensive tackle.
That's
correct?
exactly it.
But does he do that consistently enough, and will he be able to do it in this game?
Right. They ask him to play a lot. That is one thing I think has been amazed by everybody. Like, even when I talk to other teams, right, they're like, we're actually shocked that they keep him on the field that much, right? He's on the field about as much as any D tackle in football. So he does have some moments of where you go, he's kind of catching his breath, right? And you try taking on double teams play after play after play, right? And you go, damn, I've been in for 45 of the last 50 snaps. They've double teamed me on, 40 of those 45 snaps. Yeah, you're going to get a little tired. But the other thing, too, and where I wanted to go there with Jalen Carter, damn, I was going to bring up another point. I forgot it. You were saying, what did you say there?
About he can take over a game more than any other DT at some point.
Yeah, but I lost what I was going to say.
I just had great points, and you're just like, Ahmed made them all.
No, I think you might have. I think that really might have been. But yeah, he can be that guy.
Hey, here's the good news. You're going to be here all week. If it comes back to you, you're going to be all done.
It's going to come back in 2 minutes. You know that. I'll interrupt you in a second.
While we're talking about your number 5 most important non-quarterback, a teammate of Jalen Carter on the other side of the ball, and it is
A.J. Brown. Yeah. A.J. Brown, the best receiver in this football game. And I just say A.J. Brown, again, a little bit of what we talked about with Trent McDuffie. He's got to win those one-on-one matchups, or whoever it is, okay? Let alone, right, it also can't be, they've kicked coverage, they're putting a safety over the top of them, then we just can't forget about A.J. Brown.
Which happens. Happens more times than you would think.
That's why I'm putting him in this, not only because of what he can do, but also to say, hey, Eagles, you can't do this. You can't go to the third quarter and we go, whoa, A.J. Brown's only had 1 target so far. If you do that, to me, you're playing with fire that way.
Yeah.
And we saw that again in the divisional round and a little bit in the wild card round. They are a better team when they feed A.J. Brown. That scares the shit out of a defensive coordinator when they go, wait, they keep giving it to that running back who can score from anywhere, and they keep throwing it to that receiver who can score from anywhere. And that's the other aspect of why I put A.J. Brown here as number 5, is just because it is one where I go, hey, we know Saquon's going to make a few plays. Yeah. AJ's got to make, to me, a few plays in this game. Whether it's like he did in the first Super Bowl, he caught that deep post corner for a deep touchdown, right? You know, or does he catch a slant a few times and scare the Chiefs out of like loading the box, right? So we're worried about the run, but damn, he's catching a slant, he's breaking a tackle and getting 20 yards on 5-yard throws every time we do it. So now we got to change the way we want to play on the defensive side of the ball. That's where A.J. Brown is really important to me in this matchup.
I mean, in this playoff so far against the Packers, 3 targets, just 1 catch, 10 yards, was reading a book on the sideline. That was the book game, inner excellence.
Right.
And then next game, they tried to get him the ball a little bit more. 7 targets, but 2 catches, 14 yards.
2 drops.
And a couple drops. And then last game, they were able to connect with 96 yards and that touchdown. But yeah, but they haven't always needed him. But DraftKings over-under on him is 70.5 receiving yards. Brown has cleared that in just 3 of his last 8 games.
They flirt with danger when they don't, though. That's the point, right? And this is not the flirt with danger game. Like, again, everybody knows if this game's a field goal and all these – the cameraman, everybody here, if this game's a field goal and Mahomes has got the ball late in the game, we know what's happening. It's like, are they going to tie it or are they going to win it, right? They're going to have to, like, go late into the football game with a significant lead here in this one. And that's where, like, the Packers game, the Rams game were a little dicey. Oh, the game he had 96 yards, that wasn't the dicey one, right? Because now it's like Washington's like, oh, shit, we can't stop him in the pass game. We can't stop the run game. What do? We don't know what to do here. And that's where, you know, the Eagles, when they're at their best, they put you in that conundrum.
He did have 96 yards and a touchdown in the Super Bowl 2 years ago against Kansas City, but the Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes.
I remembered what I wanted to say about Jalen Carter.
I knew it was going to. All right, what is it?
Here's another thing with the grading and why he's wrong.
Okay.
Why they can be wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm not attacking any one specific site.
No, but you're talking about PFF here.
You're such a dick. I'm not. The one, he will freelance from time to time, right? He might be responsible for this gap, and he just goes, well, I'm going to make the guy miss, and I'm going to just go this gap, and I'll make the tackle. And then he might miss the tackle, which will be a negative, right? But you still go, oh, my gosh, that was unbelievable. The other thing is he's asked to do some things that I don't think most normal D tackles are allowed to do. And if you watch film and you didn't have a little nuance about, you know, I'm lucky that I played in the NFL and was taught some things, right, by some smart people, to where I'd go, I know that doesn't look right, but he was asked to do that.
Yeah.
He was asked to do that. He's asked to be like, hey, you just stay on the backside here in case the quarterback keeps the ball in the read option. And it might look like he's being lazy and not attacking the ball at the front side. But they ask him to do some unique things, too, that I think hurt his grades at times. Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Hey, just because the season's over, it doesn't mean we're over. We ain't going anywhere. The NFL never dies.
We're staying right here. Hit subscribe. We got every NFL move. We'll react to that. Plus, Chris has got 4,719 draft prospect profiles to do.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe. You know where to find us. Peace out, homies.